All right. Well, welcome everyone. Happy New Year. Today's January 4th. I'm Patty Palka, and I am so excited to kick this new year off with none other than our very own presidential Tyler Daniels. I think all of you on here probably know who he is. We may have some guests jumping on or people that don't know you that well, but I've known Tyler for I know it's over 25 years because my daughter just celebrated her 21st wedding anniversary. So it's somewhere 26, 27 years, something like that. But and Dave and Joe, we were all, together at the beginning of LifeVantage. And but Tyler is like one of, if not the best network marketer in the world. He is so knowledgeable and has a gift of casting vision and helping you understand the power of what you have a hold of. And he is very excited about the direction that the company's going right now. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to him. And I do have the slideshow ready to go, Ty. So when you're ready for me to share screen, I'll do that. And I'll turn it over to you. Thank you so
Well,
much for taking time and being with us tonight.
well, I appreciate that. Thanks. I have known you guys for quite a while now. It's hard. It's kind of fun to think about that. We've known each other. I've watched all your kids grow up, and and you've seen mine grow up, and our kids are having kids now. It's kind of crazy, actually. It's a little crazy. So, anyways, Happy New Year, you guys. I'm excited for this new 2024. Let me ask you guys a question before we get started tonight. Do you want me to go through the kind of presentation that I've been doing for the last few months or so around the country, or do you guys want to maybe kick the year off with some questions and answers? You tell me what direction you guys want to go with this call tonight, and we'll take it in whatever direction you need. Does that sound good? And I'll tell you a couple stories while you guys just put in the chat as to what you would like from me. And I'll start off by telling you that we have the January 13th deal that we're going to do the virtual event on January 13th, where you guys are doing your little watch parties. I know what they're going to do on the video that they show you because I've already been recorded for that. So I kind of know what you're going to hear about. And as a little sneak peek, I will tell you that they're going to make an announcement for something that is going to be what Tosh and I believe is going to be one of our favorite trips that the company has ever put together, ever. And so some of you guys know that we've been to places like Ireland. We have been places like Capri Island. We've gone on cruises through the Mediterranean. We've been on cruises through Alaska. We've been to Hawaii a ton of times. We've been all over places like in Florida. We've done some really, really incredible trips with this company. And we think this one that we're going on, that you're going to be able to qualify for this year, will be the biggest, best one that they've ever done. So I hope that excites some of you. I can't tell you where it's going to be yet, but you're going to find out in what is the date today?
The 4th.
So we have 9 days. So in 9 days, you're going to find out. Okay.
Yeah.
So you tell me really quick, you guys, what do you guys want to go through? Do you guys want to just go through a standard presentation so you can kind of see what we've been doing? That'll take about 35 minutes. Or do you guys want to start this year off with, maybe some of the things that you're questioning about the direction of the company? Are you questioning something about the compensation plan? Are you questioning something about there's a new incentive they're probably going to be launching tomorrow? I don't know if you guys are getting on the call tomorrow for a new incentive that the company's putting out. Did you guys know about that? I'm pretty sure there's one that they're going to announce tomorrow. So there's an incentive that will help encourage people to get to the SE1 rank primarily. So there's that going on. What do you guys want to know about? What can I do for you? If there's guests on here, I can give you guys the standard version, but sometimes these calls are better if I address the questions that you have individually.
Well, Ty, just looking through the chat, it looks like there's a few people that would like to hear you go through it. But I don't see anyone shouting out that they have a guest on. So, I
hear that you want to hear about. I have a little bit of a cold, you guys. You can probably tell I'm a little bit stuffed up. We caught something that's been lingering in our house, but I can go through you and a friend too if you guys want. It's part of the presentation if you want to go through that. Is that kind of what you guys are wondering, is how the math works, how the you and a friend math works? That's kind of
Yes. That's what they're nodding at.
so
You do such a cool job on that.
so while Patty's going, while she pulls up some of these slides for, I'm gonna tell you guys a story about how the whole You and a Friend thing came about. So when we were going through the compensation plan in the very beginning, we were going through all the data, and these guys were making suggestions, and they were showing us the difference, what they thought was the outlook or what the consequences would be of different, different changes that they were suggesting that we make. One of the things that kept coming up is we've got to make this about a conversation that's really simple. And so originally we started out at something that was, a little bit more complicated. It was kind of here's what will happen if you go out and get 3 customers every month for a year. And that led to the 3-in-1 conversation. Some of you guys know what the 3-in-1 conversation about getting 3 customers and 1 consultant every month, and you'll have 36 customers and 12 consultants by the end of the year. And so we went down that path. We started breaking it down into dollars and cents and how much it would actually generate for an income for you if you did those things. And what I found out through doing that for about 7 months and doing hundreds of different presentations is there was some kind of a perceptual roadblock when I was having that conversation. People started thinking 36 customers seems like a ton to me, and getting 12 consultants seems like a lot to me. Is there a simpler way to start making some money? And so I started looking at it and saying, well, if I want someone's business to really have the best chance to grow, if I want them to be able to build the foundation like I've built, where you've got 10, 12, 15 people that are, what would be executive ranks in the company now, or even presidentials in the company, you've got to go out and you've got to start doing something where you can get just that very first win. I don't want to give you a pathway that you don't believe you can do right out of the gates. I want to give you that first win, get your first customer, get your first consultant, because once you know you can do it, I think the conversation is really easy to say, you've done it once, let's do it twice. Or, maybe we can see what your paycheck was from doing it that way and say, do you want to get another one of those, for example? And so I just started taking this thing more down to just the most basic first principle. And it fell on You and a Friend. And so to start the You and a Friend conversation, I thought, rather than try to fight with everybody about, should I have a product message or a consultant message in the beginning, why don't I just say, hey, whatever you're comfortable with. I don't care. I don't care if you're really excited about the products, go out and find some customers. And I started to get some of the people that have listened to me for the last 10 or 15 years really push back and say, what's happening to you? Why are you okay with that now? And it's because I really feel like I don't care what the first win is. I don't care if that first win is a customer, because it will give you the confidence to tell that customer, hey, come build the business with me, knowing that consultants are how you're going to build big businesses, right? So I said, I just don't care. I just decided I was done fighting that conversation, because what if that was your pathway? What if your very first step for success was to actually just show somebody some before and after pictures, and those before and after pictures were impressive enough that they wanted to just use the product? You put them on a subscription, and you just kept getting paid month after month after month. And that eventually led to this idea that you could get another customer, ultimately giving you enough income to start asking people to help you tell the story. I just thought, I don't know why I would ever object to that. I mean, why am I putting myself in a position where only 1 out of 10 people I sign up are going to agree with me, and the other 9, I'm just kind of throwing them away because maybe they needed a little bit simpler pathway? I just felt like that's just stopped making sense anymore, especially in today's world, where you have, every time you turn on the computer, you have somebody trying to sell you a side hustle, or someone trying to sell you how to do direct marketing, or someone trying to sell you how to do a self-help book, or whatever. You're getting bombarded over and over and over. Why am I not embracing that those other 9 people might be attracted to a little bit simpler process of just getting a customer first? And so I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go out and ask people to find a customer. I'm going to ask them to find a customer every week. I'm going to start showing people how, if they do this thing where you lean on the experts, you can actually generate an income that is really important. In fact, if you start comparing that income to, say, other things that we've accepted in our life, I can start comparing it to, say, a Social Security check, or I can compare it to a 401k payment, or I can start comparing it to a pension payment. I can compare it to investing $200 a month, for example, to get to that $1 million mark, like our financial people told us in high school. And I started saying, if I'm going to do a comparison, let's say on that $200 a month thing, number one, you'd have to put $200 a month away every single month from the time you get your first job all the way until you're 65. And if you do that with a 7, 8, 9% interest in return every year, you'll have roughly $1 million when you're 65. That's generally what our financial people told us. So then there's what's called the 4% rule that says, if I have $1 million invested, I can take 4% out and it will last me for the rest of my life. Well, 4% of $1 million is $40,000, and $40,000 divided by 12 is roughly $3,600 a month. That's really kind of is what it is, or actually it's like $3,300 a month, right? It's roughly $3,500 a month. And so I said, what if I can show people a pathway that can replace that $3,000 or $4,000 a month, but doesn't require you to put $200 a month away for 40 years? Because that's what that other pathway is. It is $200 a month away from the time you get your first job until you're 65 years old. So what if I can shorten the pathway and give you a same or better return? And I came up with, well, go find a customer a week. Just go find one customer that looks at our before and after pictures, and you do it for a year, you got 52 customers. 52 customers on a healthy glow stack, right? 52 customers on a healthy glow stack is how much money? How much volume is that? Is it $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in volume? Well, you're going to make 30% of that. So if you do it for 1 year, you're going to make somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 from 1 year, not 40 years. So if you simply do that for 3 years or 4 years, you've done in 3 to 4 years what it took your entire life to do the other way. And I thought that makes sense to me, because I don't know very many people who actually did the $200 investment. In fact, I ask people when I run around the country, raise your hand if you did what your financial advisor told you. And I've had 7 people in 15 years of asking that question. I've had 7 people raise their hand, and only 6 of them actually had the $1 million. One of them never even got them. Bad investments and things. Okay. So I thought to myself, if only 7 people out of the tens of thousands of people that I'm in front of actually did that other process, I have a 3 to 4 year pathway that will help those people actually catch up. Something that they can do now in just the next, like you could be 60 years old, and by the time you're 65, have an income that is better than what took those other people 40 years to develop. So if you're 60 years old, I can catch you up. If you're 60 years old, I can give you something now that will literally fix all of the mistakes financially that we made, at least concerning that. Then you can throw other things in there. You can say, well, if I'm getting the average income of Social Security and I'm getting, $1,500, $2,000 a month from that, now I'm making $5,000 to $6,000. Maybe I have a little pension for $2,000 or $3,000 more. So maybe I'm making $8,000 or so if I'm using multiples of that traditional path. Well, what if you're 60 and you just did that for 6 years instead of 3? Your income is now somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 a month. It's more money than using 3 of the other traditional paths. And you did it in 6 years. And I thought somebody's going to be interested in that. As long as the products that we're showing people have value, as long as they're validated by the biggest experts in the world, that right there is something I think people will do. Okay. Now, the next progression from that conversation is this. Do you have a friend that's in the same situation as you? Do you have a friend that didn't do the $200? Do you have a friend that did not invest in their 401k? Do you have a friend that did not invest in their IRA? Do you have a friend that doesn't get a pension? Do you have a friend that is counting on just Social Security? Do you have a friend like that? Because let's offer this to them too. And then the two of you together, you and a friend, can enjoy a lifestyle that's bigger than what you were on the path to get. And you can maybe have the latter part of your life be something that you remember, something that's got some kind of legacy to it, something that's a lot better than it was going to be. And I've found a lot of people excited about that message. So you and a friend who will do this consistently for 3 or 4 years, you can go out and you can build yourself a really significant income. I believe that if you just found those customers each week, you're going to get better and better and better at it each week. For at the end of that first year, you're probably going to be pretty good at contacting, inviting, introducing information to people. You're going to have a friend that does the same thing. Well, that friend has a friend. You start making 10% of everything that your friend does. So if they have a $30,000, $40,000 organization, right, you're going to be making 3 to 4. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get $3,000 to $4,000 from the efforts that they put in. Now you start adding that to your 10, you're at $15,000. You guys, you pretty quickly can see how this can turn into a large amount of money. If your friend gets a friend who gets a friend, because we do that through 9 different generations of those enrollments. You're also not limited to only having one friend. You can have 5 friends or 10 friends or 100 friends. You can have as many friends as you want. And every time one of your friends follows this path and they get to that $30,000, $40,000 a month mark, you're getting an extra $3,000 or $4,000 from each and every one of them. And so do the math. 5 times 3 is $15,000 a month. It's $180,000 a year. plus the 10 or 12,000 you're making on your activity. So now all of a sudden you're talking $300,000-$400,000 a year, and all the financial mistakes you made up until you were 60 are wiped away in the next 4 to 5 years. Now, coincidentally, in society today, we've had this interesting, this interesting economic roller coaster that we've gone through in this country over the last 3, 4, 5 years. And I think there's a lot of people out there that would like to insulate them from what society is doing to them economically. Gas prices go up and they come down, and they go up and come down. How would you like to be in a position where when the gas prices are high, it does not impact your lifestyle? How would you like to be in a position where when interest rates go up, it doesn't affect your lifestyle or your purchasing power? How would you like to be in a situation where when housing prices go through the roof, you can still afford the one you want? How would you like to be in a situation where when you go to the grocery store, you don't have to put anything back on the shelf, because what $200 will buy today is nothing like what it would buy 5 years ago? How would you like to insulate yourself from all the things that are completely out of your control? So this message for me is why I think a lot of people are looking at our business today, is they're saying these guys came up with a compensation plan that is backed by the products that are supported by the most powerful experts in the world. And that combination, that relationship between Harvard and National Institutes of Aging and so on, the other 30 that we have, that combination of that kind of peer review with products that have a visual response that we can show before and after pictures to a very, very clear pathway that I can fix all my financial problems that I've had over the last 40 years, and I can do it in a 3 to 5 year period. That right there is a very compelling message for a lot of people. The ability to insulate ourselves from what Congress's decisions are, the ability for us to insulate ourselves from what global energy supply is, our ability to go out and insulate ourselves from the decisions that other people are making is something that's compelling to a lot of people, I think. And so that's the message that I'm running around. I'm saying, help us tell the story. We have a company that wants your voice. We have a company that has a product that needs you to talk about it. We have a company that if you will talk about it, there is a significant way for you to generate an income. And by the way, that income is generational, which means when you pass away or you pass on, you can will that income to your kids. You can give this business to your surviving family members. And then people start to go, okay, this is even bigger than I thought it was. This is something that now I can insulate my family, my future, my grandkids, which as a grandfather today, it's really important to me to know that the actions I take today are now going to benefit not just my children, but also my grandchildren. That combination is a really, really important thing for people to understand. Too many times, though, I think in this business, a lot of us we forget how big this really can be. And we start focusing on only those little teeny small things. Nothing that you're going to do that's going to be really, really big in your life, in my opinion, is going to happen. It doesn't have an easy path attached to it. Let's just say it doesn't just happen overnight. So I now teach people, take those simple steps. You and a friend, start by getting a customer, start by getting a friend. I've also found that when you think about getting a customer every week versus getting a friend, it seems a lot easier to go find a friend first. So now I'm actually, in some sense, presenting you with two pathways, and building a consultant business appearance-wise is the simpler way to do it, because there's only one friend that I'm asking you to get versus say 52 customers, right? And so I'm getting a lot.
Do you want me to go to a different slide? Because I just put you on the screen.
I looked at this. I've been looking at everybody's faces. I like to watch everybody's response to see if they're hearing what I'm saying or not.
Okay. All right. I just didn't know if you wanted me to change your image on the slide.
I like that image better than the one that shows up in the day. That's back when I was in my cool biker days.
Okay.
I'm a lot smaller now. No. Anyways, that's kind of when I was retired. I'll take this in whatever direction you guys want. I mean, I love the you and a friend conversation because it checks a lot of boxes for me. It kind of leads back to those people that are new. I saw a message on here that someone said, hey, I'm new. And so I want to address a couple things. And they said they're an invited guest from Sheila. Okay. So it says the missus. So let me take this in a slightly different direction. You're kind of getting the back end of this first. The real question for a lot of people, it starts with, from several different point of view. One is I need something to help something in my health. That's one question that people have is there a product out there that can really have an impact for me that I know is not going to hurt me, that's got some type of validation from the experts that we believe in? That's one reason people look at our company. Another reason is because maybe they have not been able to keep up financially with inflation and things like that. And so there's a need financially for them to do something extra. And so the choices are, get a second job or do a side hustle or, maybe drive an Uber car around. That's another reason people join this. Other reasons that people join this is sometimes there's just a really positive environment around this. You're going to find out there's some really incredible people in this business. Some of your longtime, lifetime friends will come from this business. The friends I have today are obviously from the experiences that we've had traveling around the world together, because these companies will send you to the greatest places in the world. It gives you a lot better cultural background as you travel to other countries. You get to understand what other people think and how much more alike we are than different. And it's, that's really healthy, I think, for people, is to go find out how much we all do care about the same things in our families and things. So there's a lot of reasons people join these companies. So for you that's new, let me take you to the first question about your health. One of the things that I get asked all the time about LifeVantage is, why would this company take a product that is so powerful and put it in the hands of network marketing? Why would we take a product that is so scientifically validated by places like Harvard or the National Institutes of Aging or Ohio State or LSU or American Heart Association or international universities that are in Amsterdam and Montreal? And why would a company take a product that seems on the outside like it would just naturally sell on store shelves? Why would they give it to all of you? And the simple answer is this: as science discovers better ways for you to maintain your health, it's not a very well-known thing. I mean, you're always out on the very forefront of that conversation. So until somebody makes the effort to educate us as the mass that this is even a possibility, we're kind of stuck with what we see on TV, or we're kind of stuck with what we've heard about somewhere in our life. And in our particular case, we were very, very familiar with something called antioxidants and the importance of using antioxidants to reduce oxidation in your body. What people were not familiar with is that there's a product out there that will tell your body to behave at the same level it did when you were young as you age. And so it basically tells your body to activate those very functions that it knew how to use or knew how to perform when you were young. It activates those same functions as you get older. Why does that matter? Well, because as we age, our body is naturally genetically programmed to shut those processes off. And since it already knows how to do it, let's just keep the processes back on. And that's what Protandim does. It's my hat that I'm wearing right here. I actually wore this because it's the hat I was wearing in the presentation you're going to see on January 13th. It's my little connection to the two, I guess. But the smart thing that LifeVantage did is they said, we understand that our technology in this conversation is so ahead of what you're going to see on TV for ads or what you understand when you go into a GNC or some kind of a store where you're trying to buy products that will, the vitamins and things and supplements that people buy. We're so advanced that unless someone tells you it exists, you're going to be overwhelmed by the old norm. And we want to put that in the hands of people that will talk about it. So they came to us, they came to the industry. They said, network marketing is filled with a lot of people that get really excited and passionate about sharing good news and good information and good health stuff to other people. Let's give them the commissions that we would have paid those stores to go tell people what this is. Now, we are, as consultants, that have been here for a minute or two, have really started to understand how great this product is by who we attract to the company. So in our industry, in the past, most people that were super highly educated, doctors, people that have initials before and after their name, are kind of pushed back on our industry a little bit, because at some level they felt like it would challenge their credibility or would somehow knock them down from whatever status they had in society. But when you have all of these universities, and we've got over 30 of them that validate this product, when you have these universities and when you have places like the ABC Primetime, who did an investigative report with John Quinones, tell you that you need to understand this business, that challenging of their credibility goes away. And so we've started to get really excited about the people we attract, because they know the information, they can read the studies, they understand the language, and they're running around telling everybody that you need to stop worrying about consuming antioxidants and tell your body to activate the natural production of that if you truly do care about your health. And so that's why we're here. We understand that we're setting a standard in the industry that is not met anywhere else in the industry with the peer reviews that we have. And that's also exciting for us, because we're kind of the example. I mean, other companies have to try to do what we're doing if they want to be as credible as we are. So as a consultant, that's something that's important to us. Another thing that LifeVantage has done really well is they're a publicly held company, and so they have to tell you everything we do. We tell you everything that we do financially, whether it's how much we pay the CEO, to how much revenue we have, to how much profit we have, to how much we spend on incentives, to how much money we spend on research and development and all of that. So when you have a really credible product that needs us to tell the story, and the company tells you everything about how solid the company is so that you know your efforts will be okay this year, next year, and the year after because they're so financially sound and they have zero debt. And they spend, last year, $2.3 million just on research and development alone to keep us at the forefront of that conversation. Those are the things that give us confidence to say this might be a pathway to fix the financial problems now that a lot of us have experienced in our life. In many cases, not as a result of our own personal decisions, but more so because, society does things that are completely out of our control. So, as a new person, what I would hope the question you're asking is, how solid is the company? How stable is this company? How much revenue do they have? How much money do they have in the bank? How well can they support this message? Number two is how significant is the product message? And you're going to find out when you do any research on that there is no other product in this industry that has the significance that our product has. If you care about making your body behave like it did when you were young, repairing itself, restoring itself like you did when you were young, there is nothing else out there like this. So you'll learn about that. And then you're going to say, okay, what kind of leadership is there? What kind of support is there? How are they teaching us to build this business? Can I really make the financial, the returns that I'm looking for? And that's why people jump on these calls. So I wanted to address you that posted that in there first, that you're new, and talk to you for just a second about that as to why people are here. And then ultimately, you're going to find out. I mean, Patty said it here in the very beginning. We've known each other for 20-ish years, something like that. And we're more than just business partners in this. We're friends. We've golfed together. We've traveled the world together. And I have tons of others. By the way, if I scroll through this, I could start naming names, but most everybody on here, I have a long-term friendship with that. I know if I was in their community and I had a problem, I could call on any one of them. And they all know that if they were in my community and they need a place or they need some help, they can call on me. And that's a pretty comforting thing to know if you travel anywhere in the world, is that you have those kind of friends. As a side note, by the way, when you meet people in this industry, you're going to find out that they come from every single background out there, whether it's school teaching to mortgages, to air conditioning, to anything. I mean, engineering, to police work, to nursing, anything, any background you can possibly imagine, you're going to have friends in that career field, that if you have a problem in your life that has something to do with that, they're so willing and so glad to help you if you need that help. And I don't even know what that's worth. I'm not quite sure what that access to that kind of support is really worth. So that's why people do these businesses for you that's new. And to kind of wrap this little segment up, is our company about a year and a half ago decided to launch a collagen product. We just got a peer review back on the relationship between our Protandim and collagen. And that's the product that everyone's having the most success with right now, is the combination of those two. It's called a Healthy Glow Stack. And the before and after pictures are shocking. We were told in our initial analysis that we would do about 12 million in sales. Our first year, we did 35 million in sales. And that was as of last July. In those next 6 months, we pushed it from over 35 million to over $60 million in sales. I'll bet we're over 70 now. I just haven't asked here in a minute. Okay. I just haven't asked what it was, but we have had so much success. We blew every model that they thought we were going to do out of the water, and people are pretty excited about that. So, all right, I'll take a big breath on that one. Did I answer all your questions so far, Patty? Kind of in a roundabout way tonight?
I think so. When you started talking about the before and after pictures, I went to college, and I know you're on your cell phone, I think, or a tablet. Yeah. So, but because there are some newer people on, I just thought I would go to that, and I can just flip through those, quickly. But yeah, I mean, just people unmute yourselves and ask if there's something particular that you want to see. We can just run through the slides, whatever you would like to do. But I've got the collagen pictures up there now.
I saw Steve say I should change it to my white lab coat presentation picture on there.
That was so good.
Guys, this is kind of a little bit of an inside joke here. Is Brandon Cunningham, when he saw me up there with my goggles and my white lab coat, he built a side by side of me and a minion, and that was the Field Advisory Board laughing picture for about a month of me up there. Me and a minion. It was really great. Anybody have any questions at all tonight? Is this helping you guys? I mean, I know you're hearing it in a little bit different way. One of the things I love to do about these presentations is to show you that, you know, in the beginning, I would listen to someone do a presentation and I would always say in my mind, man, when I can do it like that, you know, if I could just copy, you know, Patty's presentation or whatever, I thought that that's what would make me successful. And then I learned along the way that none of us are the same. You know, you're always going to you're going to do presentations different, and I do them different all the time. You know, I know that there's 3 or 4 topics that I have to cover, and there's 5 that I try to hit every time. I love to cover that we're transparent. I love that we're publicly held. I think it gives us access to information that you don't get everywhere else. I love the scientific validation of our products. Absolutely love it. I love that we pay out between 42 and 48% of every dollar that comes in back to all of us as consultants. The thing about that I'm probably the most proud of is we've built organizations, obviously with the help of our incredible leaders, that have done over $1.6 billion in sales. And what that means is that we've paid $700 to $800 million out in commissions to families that need that money. And I'm really happy about that. And I'm really proud of that number. I think it's something that we don't spend enough time celebrating, is $700 to $800 million paid to other families, and the impact that that's having on their ability to provide something for their kids, or to open a doorway, you know, or to cover an expense that was unknown. And I love that, because I know that if I've been able to do that with my leaders, they can do that with their leaders. Everyone on this call can have that same message if you'll put these little you and a friend processes into play. And if you'll just follow them consistently you can do all of these things. And then what ends up happening is people come up and they tell you the stories of how it impacted their life and their family. And I don't know how you can put a dollar amount on that. The butterfly effect of you doing something today that led to somebody who led to somebody who led to that person who is most likely praying for something in their life, whether it's their health or their finances, to take a break or to give them some relief, to know that you had something to do, not entirely, but something, the butterfly effect of leading to that person having that opportunity to hear about Protandim if it's a health need, or to hear about this if it's a financial need. There's something about that brings a lot of satisfaction. And so, you know, that's why I keep doing this stuff. It's why I retired for 8 years, and 3 years ago when Steve asked me to come back out and help him take this to a company that's going to be more of a legacy type conversation, that was the driving factor for me. Is my finances are taken care of. My health, as far as I know, is fine. But other people need this. Other people need that activity. Other people need that little bit extra of contribution from me, so that we can, you know, help them have those things in their life. And so we're doing it. And that's why we're working so hard. And that's why this company is so committed to all of you, and why they're so willing, in some cases, like the Evolve Plan, to take a little bit of a chance on something to really challenge, are we paying people the right way? Are we paying for the right behaviors, you know? And they feel like they've really done a good job. We're going to take this plan now into the rest of the world, by the way. This year is the year that we take it to Europe, and we're launching in Canada. And the cool thing for them is they got to see any of the mistakes that we made here in the US, Japan, and Australia, and New Zealand. They got to see any mistakes we made and avoid those, so they can even have a better response to what the data is. And by the way, the data is coming back almost exactly how they expected it to be. And it's pretty exciting, actually.
Oh, I thought I was muted, but I'm not. So what do you mean by the data's coming back just as they, are you talking about for the changes that were made in the compensation plan and the feedback that's coming back? Okay.
So one of the very first things that's coming back is that we had 3 bottlenecks in our old plan where it was pretty obvious that the distance between ranks was too far. So for example, between the old Pro 5 and the Pro 6 was a $20,000 jump all the way to 60. And so there was a bottleneck. It was like people got stuck there. And the same thing would happen between like 3 and 4 or whatever in the very early numbers. It would happen also again between 7 and 8, or actually it was between 8 and 9 when you had to go from 200 to 500,000. What you're starting to see now is you're starting to see this real steady stream of advancements through those early ranks, and there's no reason to believe they're going to be bottlenecking, because it's working, it's progressing perfectly. Now we had 5 straight quarters of growth as well, and so when you see 5 straight quarters compared to the previous the same quarter the previous year, when you start seeing that, you're starting to see how the impact of these little teeny changes for behavior are progressively moving the company in the right direction. The day will come when we have enough activity that it will turn into what we call a momentum shift, and it will just start carrying this thing. It'll just take off, and we're close. We're really close. It could be in the next year or two, you guys. It really could.
Tyler, It's Kim. I was going to ask you, one of my consultants is from Brazil, and her parents have been prescribed collagen by their doctors, and which shows me a real difference between the United States and other countries. But do we know if we're going to be able to get into the market in Brazil anytime soon?
So the best thing to do on these, you guys, is there's some of these questions like that I don't know the answer, but even if I did, because we're a publicly held company, they will put that information out when it's when it's going to be for public consumption. Okay. And so I would say make sure you're paying really close attention to the websites, because they'll tell you when we're ready to go. Now, I haven't heard anything about Brazil. So, and I would tell you if it's even in the rumblings, if I had heard. I mean, I could tell you that, but I don't hear anything right now about really going into any other countries until we solidify the countries that we're in right now. You know, Steve made a major change when he did the Evolve plan, and he wants to make sure that all of the countries are going to be run under the same compensation structure. And he wants to make sure they're all up to speed with training and their understanding before he goes out and starts adding a lot of other things. And there's a strategy. I mean, we'll end up being in as many countries as we can over time, but there's a financial strategy for doing that. Okay, Kim, I think it's a great question. Even if I knew the answer to that one, I don't know that I'd be able to give it to you until they make it a public.
Well, and Kim, when you first log in on the website at the very top, there's in the red bar, we have a program to ship to all countries. So it is a little bit more expensive, but we can get product anywhere in the world through that program.
Okay.
They have to.
It's the consultant side that I'm not. Does that make sense? I couldn't go become consultant.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We've got another question on here, Ty. I don't know if you want to speak to it. It just says, all my friends see the results and make great comments, but the monthly subscription kind of scares them. How do I speak to that?
I think that's probably the most common question that we've got in any company in the entire industry. Network marketing products are usually a little bit more expensive than what you find, say, in grocery stores or in GNCs and places like that. The way that I have always answered that question is this. Number one, are you getting the results that you want? Right? I mean, if you're getting the results that you want, it's probably worth the price, unless it's just completely ridiculous. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's make sure we're comparing the price properly. So if I have to take, say, 8 servings of another collagen to get the same benefit that I get from 1 serving here, how much difference is there really in those 2 prices, right? And then the third question that I usually like to ask people is this. If you're getting the results you want, you still think it's a little expensive, why don't you join me? Let me talk to your friends. Let's introduce this to some other people so they can get the same results. If they buy it, you will get a commission check, and it will obviously offset whatever the costs are to your products here. They'll get the same benefit that you're getting because it's the one you wanted, and you can offset your costs by helping us tell the world about these incredible products. Those are generally how I do it, okay? And then at the end of the day, I'm a little more blunt with people privately. I just go, listen, you get what you pay for. You can buy garbage if you want, or you can buy the best. Right? I mean, that's just, I sometimes have to temper what I say on these calls when we've got how many people on here? I mean, 35 people on here. But you all know how you talk to your friends. I talk to my friends the exact same way when we're together privately.
Well, Ty, don't you think a lot of times that's a control issue? And so if we can just, reassure them that they're in full control, they have an account number, they have a password, they can go in, they can pause it, they can push it out. What I'm doing with my customers right now is just saying, do not hit the cancel button, because then you lose all of your credits from our, rewards program that we have. So, and I mean, I thought that what they did at the end of the year was amazing, where people could, save $30 for, if they spent $100. I mean, that was pretty awesome. So
yeah, and they do promotions throughout the year, and that's another way for people to stock up on the products that they love. I tend to, though, and I'm kind of making a big push right now on this topic for everyone, and I hope you guys will receive it right. I feel like we cycle through this strange idea of just kind of tiptoeing into the business, And when we do that, we sometimes forget how big the business can be. And then other times we cycle up to being really nice and bold. And we're like, this is the answer, you know, and it's like, let's do something big kind of a conversation. I feel like for a few years, our company has just kind of been on the milder side of the conversation where we're always trying to appeal to the weakest message out there because we feel like it's sometimes, you know, the easiest one for someone to digest or accept. I'm kind of flipping onto the other side of that right now. I'm saying, you know what, you guys, this is huge. This company is doing so many things good. So many people need an answer in their life, and we have the answer for them. We can do something big. Let's stop thinking about $100, $200, $500, and let's start talking to people about getting $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 increases in their life. You guys, I would never do this business for a couple $100. If you came to me and you're like, hey, Tyler, I can help you supplement your income for a couple $100, I wouldn't do this. There are so many other things I would do for a couple $100. But when you start talking to me about the power of passive income and the power of linking that passive income to a product that is legitimate, that people are getting actual real results, that are excited about those results, where their body is getting the things that they need so they can have longevity and live better and stay active. When you link a passive income to that kind of a science, I want to do something big. I want to get rid of my job. I don't want to go to work. I don't like having a boss. Who wants a boss? You know, I mean, I have one at home. She runs around here somewhere, right? But that's the only one I want, right? And that's the only one I want. I don't want someone else telling me when I have to be, where I have to be. I want something big. I want something big. I just know that there's other factors that will make getting something big real, something I can realize. And it comes from transparency. It comes from a peer-reviewed products. It comes from products that work, that give you the results, and a comp plan that is aggressively paying the behaviors that we know will help you become big. Let's stop doing this little. Let's stop playing small ball. Let's do it. Let's win something big. And that's where my attitude is today. Understand, you guys, I had someone ask me the other day, they're like, where do you spend all your time studying? I said, I spend all my time studying at the DSA's website. They're like, what? You're not studying LifeVantage? I said, I don't need to study LifeVantage's website. Harvard already said you should take this product. America, they already said so. I don't need to know why. I'm not going to challenge Harvard. And you think I have a lab somewhere in my house? I can go and disprove American Heart Association? They already said you should take it. NIA said you should take it. You'll live longer. I don't need to challenge them. The experts have already weighed in. Okay, I don't need to study the LifeVantage website about how the comp plan works. I know I need me and a friend, and I need to help them get their friend. I need to help them find a couple customers, start making some checks. I know I need to know the basics, 30% of my customer volume and 10% of all my personals. Outside of that, everything else is just going to do what it does. I make 10% of every personal's volume with them and their customer. That's all I need to know. I'm going to get 30% of all my customers as soon as I get over 4,000 in volume. That's all I need to know. Let's do something big. I spend all of my time understanding this industry. Industry is the complaint. Industry is where the wall is. Industry is the one. Is it one of those things? Questions. I spend 80% of my research at the DSA's website. I want to know demographics. I want to know how big the industry is. I want to know who the competition is. I want to know what a standard payout for a compensation plan should be. I want to understand what a binary versus a force matrix versus a unilevel is. I want to understand the terminology of this industry so that I can have intelligent conversations. I want to know what the DSA says what boxes you should check off. How important is it to understand whether your company is compliant or not? How important is it to understand what subscriptions do? I study the business of network marketing at the Direct Sellers Association website. That's what I do. That's why I can have these conversations. And then I start linking them to real life situations. What's going on in people's real lives? Number one, you turn 40, things start to hurt. Number one, you turn 40, you wake up and why does my knee hurt today? You turn 50, you're like, I can't see anything. What is going on? Right? Why does my ear hurt today? Right? I mean, it's just, I want to know. These are things that happen in people's lives. I don't know anybody who's 40 that doesn't wish they felt like they did when they were 25, unless they had some strange problem when they were 25. Nobody when they're 40 wishes they looked or felt like they're 40. They want to be 25. Everyone says, I wish I looked 25. Man, I didn't realize how great things were when I was 25. I can't believe how good looking I was or how much energy I had. I can't believe everyone wants to be 25. This is just facts, right? This is how I think. This is why I have big businesses, because I talk like this. I take what the industry says, I challenge the stereotype because I have knowledge of the industry. No one can tell me this doesn't work. Are you going to tell me I should have went and worked at the state, some state job for 40 years? Is that what you're going to tell me? I should have done that instead of this? I want to know why the stereotype is not true. And I do know why. And it's because there's a lot of garbage out there. So if there's a lot of garbage out there, what's the test? How do I know what the garbage is versus what the good companies are? Are there other good companies? Of course there are. Anybody that tells you that we're the only one is just, they need to be examined. I mean, there are great companies. So what do they look like? What were Nu Skin's principles? What was Herbalife's principles? What was Tupperware's principles? What were the principles of Mary Kay? What did Mary Kay do good to become a multi-billion-dollar company? Right? These are the questions I ask. Because if we can recognize the consistencies in those billion-dollar companies and then replicate them here, guess what we will be? We'll be the next billion-dollar company. That's what we'll be. That's where I study. That's where I spend my time. I don't spend my time studying superoxide dismutase and catalase. I don't spend my time studying glutathione and the pathways for the NRF2. I don't study that. Those experts have knowledge in something that I'm going to go ahead and accept that they know what they're saying. They've already weighed in. I need to know how to have real conversations at the kitchen table. That's what I need to know. Right? And then I have to have the courage to ask questions like, do you make enough money? Which is kind of a taboo in it's a hard question. But the answer for 99% of the people out there is no, I don't. And you already know the answer going in, so ask the question. Do you have enough? Are you willing to make more? Are you willing to look at something that can help supplement that? Are your kids' college funds? And I don't care whether you like college or not. Are the college funds paid for? Is your roof paid for? All the repairs around the house paid for? Is your car running the way it needs to be? Are you looking for a new car? Would you love to upgrade? Do you want to go on a vacation? What kind of experiences do you want to have in your life? Is the relationship at home okay? Would having an extra $100,000 a year come in help your relationship or hurt your relationship? Right? Would your wife give you a hug and a kiss a few more times every day if you had an extra $100,000 coming in, men? Right? How many of you women would love to have your wives come or husbands come home from work? And you don't have to answer that here because some of you might not. Right? Okay. But wouldn't it be a great thing to have that option? I mean, there's so much more to this conversation, you guys, that financial freedom and the kind of the passive income, that the security that comes with knowing that if something happened to me, like if I got sick or I got hurt, my family can still pay the bills. I'm not going to get evicted. I'm not going to lose my job. I mean, how many of you have a family member that got sick in the last 3 years? And if they did not have a passive income, they would literally be bankrupt and out of the house. Okay. There's people on this call, I promise you, have an entirely different opinion of what passive income is than they might have had 10 years ago. I have a family member that got sick and was in the hospital for 81 days. 81 days. He did not do the business with me when I asked him years and years and years ago. 81 days in the hospital. He got a notice from his employer that said, if you can't come back and work for 1 week, if you can't come back and work for 1 week, we have to take you off our insurance and put you on Cobra private insurance, and you're going to lose your job. Do you know what he had to do? He had to leave the hospital when he shouldn't have, climb into a truck and drive a truck for a week to keep his job and keep his insurance, and it's got to go back in for more surgeries. That's the world. So understand passive income. Understand the power of having income that is based on effort you've already put in or effort you put in last month. You don't know what's going to happen to you tomorrow or next month. You have no idea. Put yourself in a position where your family is taken care of. That's the position I wanted to be in. That's why at 42 years old, I built an organization that does over 10 million a month in sales and has generated over 1.6 billion in total sales and has generated over $30 million in commissions to Marcel and I. That's crazy, right? In a position where no matter what happens to me, sick, die, whatever, my family is okay. It's passive income. It's distribution income built on a product that you're told to take by the most impressive experts that we have. Those are good boxes to check. Patty's getting me on my soapbox here tonight to start the year out. I just want people to think. I just want us to think. I want to be provocative this year. I want us to answer the hard questions. I want to challenge you to do the things when you don't want to. I want to challenge you to make the extra phone call when you don't want to. I want to challenge you to go and do that meeting when there's something else going on, whether it's your favorite TV show or even, maybe in some cases, it might even be a little family event. I want to challenge you to make that little extra sacrifice because it's a temporary thing. Make a little extra sacrifice this year when the company is doing everything, pulling all stops out to make you have the best chance to move the financial needle in your life. Okay. I'm just challenging you to make the extra call, make the extra meeting, do the extra thing, find the extra customer, learn that extra piece of information that makes it easier to talk about the products, learn the extra piece of information to know a little bit more about the comp plan. Take the time to learn that little piece of information about how do I set up a three-way phone call, and which leads me to the most important thing you guys can do, and that is to use the people above you in your upline that want you to succeed. Use three-way phone calls. You have to. Stop trying to do this all by yourself. Patty doesn't need my help, but it's nice to have it. Right? What time is it? Okay. I've kept you guys on here for a whole hour. Are we good? Is everybody still good?
Yep, it's 7:53. Yep. So I mean, the chat's just blowing up. People they love it. It makes sense. It's like your passion and knowledge of the industry is because you study the industry and you are an expert in the industry and you are able to transfer that belief like nobody else I've ever met, Tyler. It's amazing. And I'm seeing people's heads nod and thank yous in the group and everything. So it's humbling. And so I did kind of like let the cat out of the bag a little bit, how you had shared that your travel with corporate is your commitment to them was complete on your last trip. And so now your availability, you're going to be pouring into your business. And we are so blessed to be a part of your team and a part of your outside volume that you want to really focus on, because that will be more beneficial to you and your family. And so that's just, I think everyone's really excited about that. So I know that I am. And so thank you so much. And what would you tell us to do to just prepare for these watch parties that are coming up? Because that's a week from Saturday. And I think we've got a lot of watch parties that are going on. I know we're hosting one. And just because what's going to be talked about, is it going to be good to invite guests to? What are some of your recommendations on that?
So I always encourage people to bring guests, but I want you to bring a guest with a prerequisite. Okay. There's a rule that I was taught early on, and I've lived by it for 20 years. And that is, if I'm bringing a guest to a meeting and they do not know anything about why they're going other than they're just going with me, I will fail almost every time. So I was always told, put the cards in your favor, stack the deck in your favor. Make sure that you've done the work before you bring a guest, so that when they come to the meeting, it's a meeting of confirmation, not introduction. Okay?
That's good. That's really good.
Apply that principle. And it goes for everything. It goes for three-way phone calls. It goes for a Thursday night meeting like this. It goes for some kind of a watch party. It goes for bringing them to a major event. It goes for any meeting that is not just you and them. It could be a coffee shop meeting, a living room meeting. Any meeting that you take someone to, if you're taking them there because you want them to get introduced to this business while they're there, you are almost guaranteed to do two things. One is fail, and number two is distract everybody else's guests. So if you bring somebody cold to a meeting and it ruins the opportunity for someone else who brought a guest that was there for confirmation, because this person was rowdy or contradictory, or wanted to be the biggest skeptic in the room, thought it was their job to talk everyone out of it, and you cost someone else their success because of it, I think that's a pretty garbage thing to do. Okay. So I was told when you bring someone to a meeting, Tyler, as uncomfortable as it is for you to have them watch the ABC primetime special, to introduce them to the Healthy Glow Stack, to show them the before and after pictures, to have the conversations with them before they get there. If you don't have enough respect for your peers to not do that, then you should not go to those meetings. And I lived by it. And I'll tell you what it did for me. There is a education process in this business that you cannot learn listening to me. There's an education process you cannot learn listening to Patty. Okay? You cannot learn how to do this business by reading it in a book. You have to physically go and do the activities to build this business, or you cannot learn the business. You will never lead your team. Someone else always will. Does that make sense? So the very basics of this business is the contact, the invite, the initial introduction to information, answering questions. Now, and I'm going a little bit deeper than maybe I need to here, but I feel like this is important. Your job is not to know the information when you're introducing it to them. Your job is to know where the information is. So I'm going to say that again. Your job is not to memorize 30 peer reviews. Your job is to know where to find them. Your job is not to be able to tell everybody how every detail of the comp plan works. Your job is to know where you can find the answer to their question. That's your job in the beginning. As you grow through the business, you will start gathering and learning and accumulating knowledge to where when you get to my level, you're expected to have a few more answers, okay? But I will tell you to this day, there are things I still refuse to learn because I don't think it's the right thing to show somebody. I would so much rather, if someone asks me a medical question, take them to where they can find the answer so they can do it themselves the next time. I don't want to be the library of answers. That's not what I want to be. I want to be the library if that's where the answer is. Let me show you where you can find it. Because anybody can take you there. Not everybody can know all of it. Okay, so invite, show them the ABC primetime, answer questions, show them what a Healthy Glow Stack is, and then say, I'd love you to come to a January 13th watch party. You're going to be amazed at how many people are doing this. This company is really cool. I can't wait to introduce you to some of the people that are excited about this. Now they're going to the meeting for confirmation, not introduction. They're not going to be disruptive while they're there, most likely. They've already asked all the disruptive questions to you. Does that make sense?
So good. So good.
And I wrongly encourage you guys to live by that principle because you're going to learn. By the time you get done doing that enough, you're going to start saying, I'm not sure I need to go to the watch party. I got this. And you will naturally become the leader because you're responsible for all that enrollment, not somebody else. See, if I was using Patty for a three-way, all she's being used for is confirmation of information. And then I'm going to take full ownership of my business and sign them up. I'm not going to ask Patty to help me sign them up. Patty's only there to confirm what I'm already telling them. Okay, how do I know this is true? Who do I go ask for three-way phone calls?
Exactly.
All right, Happy New Year, you guys. I'll get with Patty, and I've got a really busy schedule coming up. I'll get with Patty on a would you guys like a Saturday training? Should we do a Saturday training where I can bring a couple guests on? I might get, say, Kristen or even Steve to come on and talk a little bit about the direction of the company. Would you guys like something like that? Can we do something like that next?
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Maybe I can get Julie Boyster to come on and talk about, some of the marketing that's happening in the company. Would you guys like some of that? It'll be a slightly different texture from what I do. I'm very business and she'll be very much marketing and product oriented. Would you guys like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, something like that. I'll get with you, Patty, and we'll do that sometime probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Okay?
That sounds awesome. That sounds really good. And I am so excited, and I'm so glad that all of you took the time to be on here tonight and, take what Tyler shared and, go out there and share this. This is a huge gift that we have to give away. And, 2024 is probably going to be a little rocky. So people are going to be looking for this. And He just dropped some real big nuggets. I know a couple of people had asked a question about, is there notes on this and all of that, but the slides are available that I can share with you. I'm going to type my email in the chat. And again, I've done this before. I need you to actually send me an email to this email so that when I get it and you just say, please send slides, I can just reply and quickly copy a link and send it to you. It's too large to just attach it, so it's going to be a link so you can download it. And then I am going to upload this to YouTube and I will share it in Global Impact Team. And then because it's just easier to have a YouTube link, it'll live longer that way than a Zoom link. And then you'll be able to listen to it again and pause it and take notes. That's a great way to do that, is just listen to it over and over again. And then you'll actually have the slides that you can look at to match up with what he was saying. Because I didn't drive the slides to match what you were saying. So I apologize for that. It didn't work. It didn't flow the way I thought it was going to there, but that's okay.
I wasn't reading them, so it's probably my fault.
No, it's not.
As soon as you guys all collectively get 10 guests on one call, we will do a formal opportunity meeting. There's your challenge.
All right. Well,
Patty,
it's for
put your
confirmation,
email-
not introduction. They're not guests hearing it for the first time. They're guests that you've already done. So you might have to do 3 presentations to get one guest that's here for confirmation, right?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Patty,
Let's do
could you put your email again?
Yeah, it's at the very bottom of the chat, but I'll put it on there again.
I can't get, I'm on my tablet.
That's Sheila. You have my email, I think.
Okay.
But there it is
I
again.
didn't
It's
have it with those letters.
okay. Yeah, Patty at opesmktg.com. It's marketing abbreviated. Dave and Joe are on here. Dave and Joe are Greg and I's enrollers. We were introduced to this all at the same time. They're dear friends of mine. They were in Greg and I's wedding, and they've known Tyler as long as I have. So it's so good to see everybody. Tyler, thank you again for being on here tonight. And y'all just go out and rock 2024. All right. We'll talk to you later. Good
See you
night.
guys.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Tyler.
You bet.
Bye.
Okay, just last minute instructions. Send an email to my email address, not putting it in the chat. I can't reply that way. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, good night, good night. Thank you, Patty.
You bet.